Welcome to the land of magic. Reach out, and our after show will begin. It's the Little Witch Academia after show on AfterBuzz TV, and it starts right now.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
I've been waiting for this damn show for so flipping long.
So long.
And it's
so long.
It's finally here.
Yay!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Little Witch Academia after show right here on AfterBuzz TV. We got most of the anime crew.
Yeah.
What's up? I'm one of your hosts, and it's Mark Donica. You can find me on Twitter at Mark B. Donica. Joining me, Stacey Shuttleworth is going to be my co-host for most of this, and still don't know about the status of our third member. But Stacey, tell the folks about yourself, where they can find you, etc.
Hi guys, I'm Stacey Shuttleworth. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Stacey Shuttles, or all over the web at Nerds Doing Stuff.
Megan Salinas is joining us.
Hey guys, you can tweet at me at the Menguin. That's TheMenguin. And hopefully, depending on the scheduling for the rest, hopefully I'm here for the long haul.
That's the thing about the Netflix shows, is we try to get them out as fast as possible just so that people can watch them. So the way that it's going to work is we're going to do episodes as often as we can. Today we are doing 2 after shows covering the first 4 episodes of the show. So this particular after show is going to cover episodes 1 and 2, starting over in Papiliodia. That's the fastest I've ever said that word.
We're very proud.
Well done.
All right, so before getting into episode 1 proper, what is everybody's histories with the Little Witch Academia franchise, so to speak?
Do you want to go?
Oh, I can. It's your fault that I started with this little OVA, you know, however many years ago. And I've been waiting ever since for a full anime.
Full-on show.
I blame it fully on you.
It was just something that came out and it was free on YouTube, so I watched it and I watched it and I watched it and I downloaded it and I put it on my PlayStation 3 and I watched it and I watched it and I watched it. And it's just a wonderful world.
It's just magical.
Yeah, like can't things just be nice?
No.
In an age when most of the television that we consume is very abusive. Most of the shows these days that pick up a lot of traction are ones that actively seek to hurt you as a person. So it's kind of nice just to have something really genuinely sweet and nice and not mean-spirted. Just you wait, though.
I don't know.
Right?
So far.
I don't know. I would like to think that this is a direct opposite of Attack on Titan. While we did wait a long time for more of the franchise, just like Attack on Titan, it's just nice.
We're on 2 separate pages here.
2 completely different types of shows.
It reminds me a lot of not to kind of go too far back, but it reminds me a lot of anime I watched as a kid. It's just, maybe I'm making assumptions for later on down the road, but this seems like something that would have required no censoring, bringing it over to the States back in our day when every anime, even if it was for kids, needed to be censored.
Every Goku, darn!
You watch your mouth, sir.
Well, I mean, speaking to that, this is literally a magical girl show.
It is!
But not by definition.
It's a little bit
Right.
Sailor Moon, it's a little bit Harry Potter, it's a little bit, it's just a little bit of so many fun,
a lot of happy
cutesy things.
Sailor Potter, I like it. Yeah, I've been waiting a really long time for this show to come out. When Trigger finally announced it, they got through their Gurren Lagans, they got through their Kill la Kills, and we're like, oh no, we're finally doing Little Witch Academia. I was like, great. And then Netflix was like, hold up.
I'm
Wait
gonna stop
now.
you right there.
So admittedly, I watched the first episode when it came out in Japan, and then I decided to be a good boy and wait, and I'm really happy that I did. The first and second episode, at the very least, because of the nature of the show, we are watching the show like a regular TV show, and we're just watching the episode 1, episode 2, and right after this after show, we're going to watch episodes 3 and 4 so that we can do a show at 7 for episodes 3 and 4. And I watched the first 2 episodes in Japanese, y'all watched them in English.
Yes.
We're going to watch 3 and 4 in English. I'd switch it up, let's see how these characters play play across the pond.
For what it's worth, I really like the English cast. I thought they did a great job.
I'm excited. I'm excited to hear about it. But I'm also excited that all of the cast from the original came back.
That
All
was
right.
good news.
So, similarly to the OVA, we start out in a park for a show for a magician named Shiny Chariot. I'm just going to say Chariot. I'm not going to say Chariot. And we get to see the little Akko, and she's the absolute cutest button.
That little girl is she's just adorable, and you just see so much childlike wonder in her eyes as this great, as Shining Chariot is this great showman, as we find out later, not necessarily the best witch, but this wonderful showman that inspires this little girl so that it changes the course of her life.
She's in a variety of magical creatures, destroys a dragon, opens up a portal, and leaves.
I will say though, what was that, a 5-minute show? It was spectacular, but it was a 5-minute show.
No, I want
When you know how to please your audience, you know what you need to get done.
Leave them wanting more, I guess.
5 minutes done. 5 minutes, 10 years.
Wand drop.
I mean, essentially, seemingly.
Basically.
So episode 1 revolves around Akko just being a force in nature. One of my favorite things that we get to see from this character is that they leave in the little dorky moments, the little in-betweens that make her so relatable. Just the like doing a little twirl and going, okay, maybe I spun a little bit too. I spun a little bit too much. But it just makes her that much more like, yeah, I do that. That's me.
Been there.
I just love her sense of enthusiasm. Like, she's just so excited to finally begin her steps to becoming a witch, and just like I was like, I remember when I was young and optimistic. I don't think I was ever that optimistic.
She is filled with so much unbridled joy just about everything. It's like to be that positive in life. I mean, goals.
and that gung-ho. Like,
Yes.
seriously, this entire episode showed that despite maybe not having the highest self-esteem, especially when the other witches are talking about, they can't believe they let in a non-witch in this year. That's terrible. Who are you?
that non-witch.
That's the person I am. But despite that, she's still trying to make new friends, like physically climbing to get up to the portal. But getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, we meet Susie. I mean, in the shorts as well as now, just already my favorite character.
That is stretch. I mean,
she's potions, poisons, and just looks like or acts like a stereotypical witch in terms of the cackling laugh, and maybe I might be remembering a little bit too much of the OVAs, so excuse me, but it all comes together. But she just can't get rid of Akko to save her life.
No.
She is not there to make friends. She's just like, I'm just here. I wanna make poisons and just generally speaking make people miserable. And this really positive girl just won't leave her alone.
just glued, and that's it.
and especially with how much Akko talks about Shiny Chariot the entire time. Especially knowing we learned in the second episode, without getting too far, that people don't really consider Shiny Chariot in that high of a regard, especially as high as Akko does.
No, it's so weird finding out like that Shiny Chariot is looked down upon within the witch community. Like that's got to be so devastating to her too, because this is somebody who, again, not only changed her life, but she's idolized for years and years and years.
It's kind of like a reverse Gilderoy Lockhart sort of situation.
Yeah.
Where, like, similarly to where a certain sect of the world is like, do the best! And everybody else is like, this person.
This guy. Do we know why the rest of the witching community looks down on Shiny Chariot? Is it because she's just, generally speaking, not as talented as this initial light show makes us believe? Or is it because they don't like people who are in entertainment, or people who use their powers for entertainment?
I feel like it's more, because of the flashy nature of the way she goes, kind of that, well, that's not how you're actually supposed to use magic kind of mentality. I think especially at the school where it seems like, no, this is much more serious business than running around creating
an academic
pretty
science,
lights.
like, and you're throwing a light show, basically.
I can also imagine a person with that type of power who knows, like, we have Akko, who is a huge fan and just the pure cinnamon bun, but what if we got somebody that saw this power and went, I want that power to be mine, and use it for the wrong reason?
Yeah, we don't really know a whole lot about the relationship between the witching community and the regular world. Maybe Shiny Chariot, like, really overstepped her bounds when she started doing her little on-stage act. I don't know. Maybe.
I can see that. I mean, I figure this isn't a 22-minute short like the original OVA was.
We're going to have a little bit more time to flesh all that out.
Sure, of course. And so Susie brings her little, hold on, I have the name of the bird. Dang it, I forget. I took too many notes. Either way, her little stuffed bird that she has, Alcohol. Her little stuffed Alcohol brings it to life. It's like, oh, cool. Pecks her right in the eye. The beginning of the magic world seemingly directly reacting to Akko and just her not having the best time. And turns ropes into snakes, makes her fall off a bridge. But when she sees a group of witches fly up into the portal and go away, that's when we meet Lotte. How is it pronounced in the English dub?
They say it Lotte.
Lotte? Okay. Who, just delightful. Just everybody is so round, and that just in the design of characters makes them seem that much more appealing and that much more, oh, this is a nice person. Not a lot of sharp edges.
Yeah, and I think, again, that also kind of lends to the youthful nature of the characters, too. Like, making everything very round and very rubbery. It's like they're young kids, and again, it's just so cute.
They've got the energy to bounce around. Yeah, to bounce around everywhere, and it's not going to leave any lasting damage.
Well,
literally in some cases.
Not yet, but give it time.
But I love Lotte. She's so adorable, and she actually reminds me a lot of, like, a friend of mine that I had back in elementary school who helped get me into anime, and she's just the cutest thing. It's just adorable.
I mean, something that I hope we hear more about, and this is looking way ahead but isn't necessarily a spoiler. Did anybody watch the outro all the way through at the end of episode 2?
I did, but I don't recall seeing anything significant.
So there's a shot of the three girls just, like, passed out, seemingly just sleeping on a summer day, and you see a novel in Lotte's hands, and it's it's titled Nightfall, and the font itself it looks like Twilight. It's Twilight. Lotte is a Twilight fan. And it's just
I did not know this was a book.
I will never forget that font just because of what it did. So
what it did to the world.
What it did to the world. It took away the like, we had Twilight Princess, one of the best Legend of Zelda games, and then we got Twilight, which ruined the word Twilight. So yeah.
I think we need to take it back. We need to take back the word Twilight.
Reclaim Twilight.
Starts with Little Witch Academia.
This is important, guys.
This is serious business.
Yeah, really random, but I popped real hard for that. And if you're not sitting through the intro, which, did anybody notice the skip intro feature?
I did.
On Netflix?
Yeah, they kept trying to do it.
Stop.
Don't do that.
I like that they give you the option, especially for shows with a cold open before they go into the actual intro. I like that they give you that option. I do not need it, though, for this show.
It's a great opening.
It's so cute.
Right. I mean, and there are some shows you get like 6 or 7 episodes in and you're like, yes, skip, please. Just
especially for marathoning.
Yes.
Yeah, especially for Netflix binging purposes. But for a lot of anime shows, you don't skip the opening, guys.
Yeah, especially as you get further along in the series and you start seeing these scenes, you're like, oh, I get that now.
Or sometimes some shows, I love the shows that are smart enough to hold information in their opening, and then as it goes on, they'll make slight changes here and there, and then you're like, Good on you for
Look
not
at that.
spoiling things.
Guys,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I skipped the opening.
You monster! Steven!
I don't have time for that.
No, I don't blame him. I just watched the whole first season of My Hero Academia, and like 5-6 episodes in, I started being like, all right, skip.
Yeah.
I've got to get to the show.
Well, then clearly the opening's not that good.
Well, no, especially
It's a good opening.
the cold open for My Hero is a recap of the last week's episode.
Okay, that's
so it's
fair.
just like, all right, just give me to the episode.
Yeah, it's a direct rehash. So
Yeah.
Maybe it's just because I'm a huge Attack on Titan fan. I refuse.
Those are
to
so
skip the
flippin'
opening.
epic. So that, if it's the right opening for the right time, I won't skip it.
That's fair.
Totally understand.
But like I said, I appreciate that they give you the option. Not needed.
it's a nice
right
feature
now.
in some
Not-
cases.
Yeah.
Not for this one.
Really quickly, I just want a little bit of clarification from the chat. Easement is saying don't skip the ending in episode 3. Now, without being specific, is there a post-credit scene at the end of episode 3? Get back to us. I know there's a little bit of a delay. Let us know in the comments. If you're not watching this live, we do this live, so you can be a part of the conversation in the live chat. Everybody's talking about how much they don't like Diana. We'll get to her. But regardless, Lotte allows Akko to get onto her broom, go into the magical highway, and they just start dropping stuff left and right.
I did love that there was that moment where Latte's like, well, I should go. And then, she's just like, I know I'm going to regret this. Hop on, I'll give you a lift.
Her common sense is fighting with like the
With
urge to
her
be nice.
conscience.
Like,
She's like, this is going to come back to bite me.
bad idea.
But with Akko's sad face, just like this sad puppy in the rain, you
I
can't.
don't have a broom.
So her little whining in the English version is probably one of the cutest things
Okay, I gotta go
from
back
the
and watch it.
entire series.
See, like, just with my
So
history,
far.
I'm excited to go back and watch the show once we finish the after show and watch it all again. And just, I love this franchise. Anyway, so in the magical highway, they get a little bit over encumbered. They drop her special rare shiny chariot card and ends up knocking into Susie. That's a problem. And then when it all goes to crap, they fall off the broom. Akko slam, boom, right into Susie, and we're all dropped into the Forbidden Forest. Stop me if you've heard that one before.
I'm wearing my Harry
The
Potter
forest,
shirt.
the
is that
forest
what
of
it's
Arcturus.
Yeah. I was gonna say, talking about shades of Harry Potter, I was like, Forbidden Forest already in episode 1?
It's like, man, we throwing that out there.
They're just trying to get it
Every
out of the way.
good magic school has to have a forbidden forest.
Not wrong.
I love the world building here, though. There's a Forbidden Forest. I know we talked about it already, but I love the fact that a transportation system for witches is ley lines. I think that's such a cool little, wonderful little touch. And talking about, Harry Potter, we get the Forbidden Forest, and in this episode, we also get mandrakes, but a very different take on
Very
mandrakes.
different mandrake.
You don't want to grasp this mandrake.
No.
It will grasp you.
And then eat you.
But I also like how it was just a quick, all right, next thing, run, you're gonna die.
Did anybody else think it's really unsettling that so many of the branches in the Forbidden Forest are human-shaped? With human-shaped hands and human-shaped profiles.
Oh, we're gonna talk about killer trees in the next episode. Don't you worry. They end up surviving just a little bit too much, but they're running. They end up becoming bait for a cockatrice, however you pronounce it. Susie uses them as bait so that she can get a feather to make a really killer poison.
Priorities. She has them.
You're gonna make me late for opening ceremonies. It's the least you could do.
You gotta help me out. Just don't. I mean,
You want
keep
to
it
do
busy.
me a solid and be bait for
but for her, kind of getting knocked out of the ley line was a good thing, right? Because it just sped up her plan to get that poison.
She's like,
Yeah.
this is actually pretty convenient for
She
me.
was gonna go for that anyways. I mean, she was reading the book on her way in there. Like, it's forbidden. Like, already
I'm
formulating
gonna
her
go
plot.
off on a limb and assume that being a good student is not Susie's top priority.
Oh, she is not there for that. I
No,
think
dude,
that is
she's-
very clear.
She seems like the type of students that's like there to party and will ride the C line all the way through. It's like I'll make it to graduation day, but I'm gonna have some fun while I'm here.
I'm doing well enough so that
Yeah.
no one's on my back or like telling me I need extra help, but
I got
can
my own
expect.
thing going on.
Especially with the poison that she uses in the OVA, that just totally annihilates. What was it? It's an ancient Greek beast, and I don't remember. But it just annihilated. She is a terrifying person in the best possible way.
Well, and talking about like monsters that we could come across in this world, giant chicken was not on my list of things that I thought I would see in this anime.
I did not think that would be one of the first monsters that would pop up. No, I can't say I was expecting that.
But it's a great way to show. Oh, anything's on the table. Like, it's not just dragons, it's not just mythical beings. Well,
giant chicken, boom!
Well,
go.
a cockatrice is a mythical being. It's just, again, not one of the ones that you would expect to see first out of an anime like this. Yeah.
No, that was a bold first step. It was good.
No, bold first step is in the final scene, and we'll talk about that, Professor. But Lotte gets hurt in the chase. Akko's like, no, we're gonna make it. You and I'm not leaving you behind. Starts
Leave
reciting.
no witch behind.
No witch gets left behind. Starts reciting Shiny Chariot's pledge. That's the best thing that I could.
Her
word for.
mantra.
Mantra. Maybe is a good way to put it. And you start singing a star, 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 and out of the forest itself springs the shiny rod.
Very Excalibur-like, right?
Yeah, it's a good pull.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. Anyway.
Have a moment there.
Or Master
Okay.
Sword.
Yeah, that's a good one too. We did it. Using the shiny rod ends up escape. All three girls end up escaping from the cockatrice, opening up a portal that lands them right in the middle of the orientation. And while this orientation is happening, we get a good look at the principal. We get a good look at all of the Is that a fish?
Yes, Mark, that was a fish
It was a fish.
in a bowl with a witch's hat.
There's a story there. There has to be a story there.
I could use a whole section of an episode dedicated
like,
to
an
this
entire
fish witch's
OVA
story.
dedicated.
I'm here for that. I will watch that.
Do we know this professor's name?
Not yet.
Can
Or at
we
least
just assume it's Professor Blub Blub?
Now
Said
it
Bubbles,
is.
but that one here. Professor Blah Blah. Let's write that down. Make sure to update the wiki later.
Okay, great. Perfect. Awesome.
But we get it was cool to recognize the various teachers from the OVAs and the fact that those designs haven't changed and this is still the same world that we've become familiar with. I'm super excited about Professor Blub Blub. Like,
I'd like a day in Professor Blub Blub's class, please.
What does Professor Blub Blub teach?
That's the ultimate question. Hopefully we find out. We have a person by the name of Rob in the chat, Rob S, to which he submits a Professor.
Oh, I like. You know what? It's a pun, but I'll allow it.
I'm gonna punch you, Robbie.
I will not allow it.
You punch him
much,
for me.
I will do
as
that.
much as it pains me, when you have a fish as your professor, you kind of have to have a pun name. Like, as much as it pains me, I will concede that in this case it should be permissible.
Okay, so let us know what if you have seen what this professor's name is.
Don't spoil
it. But if you have a fun fish pun name for this professor, please leave it in the comments down below or let us know on Twitter. We're not ready to transition into that yet.
Blah, blah.
So
I'm gonna cling to that one.
as we as we're ending the episode, everybody you get the immediate idea that these girls are going to be just the biggest troublemakers
Oh, yes.
of the year, probably much to Lotte's chagrin.
Just wants to lay low.
I just wanted to study.
Just wanted to study and make friends.
Girl fell in with the wrong crowd.
I just wanted to help this girl get to school, and now I'm on the watch list. Which technically, so as Akko is getting walked to her dorm, she says to remember the principal's goodwill because she was admitted thanks to the principal's special consideration. And that's all we hear about that. I really want to know, and I wrote down the professor's name, Principal Holbrook. I really want to know why she allowed, if it was specifically Akko, or if it was just, hey, we want to let one non-witch in this year, or I'm pretty sure we're going to find out.
I think, I mean, what those girls were talking about before everybody hopped into the ley line, I feel like that's sort of like this is a school at this point in time that can't afford to be as strict as it has been in the past. They I feel like they hit the nail on the head. I feel like the only reason they've let this poor girl in is because financially, I don't know, I assume some witch is embezzling money, because I feel like a magical academy should not be hard up for cash. But if they're hard up enough to like loosen the rules and to widen their administration or admissions department and everything like that, someone's got to be embezzling money, right?
Well, if you go back and watch the OVA, promise we're not going to reference it that much, but just because of the first episode, one of the assignments that they do is essentially a dungeon crawler where they try to find treasure, a certain amount of treasure, and I don't know if that's like subsidized treasure or if it's...
Go find treasure and bring it back for the school.
Essentially.
It was a play to try to get more money for the school. It was a fundraiser.
No, it was an assignment. Nobody keep anything you find. It is school property. And in a moment that I don't think anybody was surprised at, the door opens and it's revealed that she is rooming with Lotte and Susie. Hey,
Yay!
friends!
Because we're the three best friends that anyone could have.
But then that
How
professor...
many times has Akko tried to start that up?
I imagine that first night, Susie was just like, shut up!
No.
And we will never, ever, ever leave each other.
Going throughout the next 3 years, these three are going to be subject to especially strict guidance. As a direct quote. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Wonder what's gonna happen.
Oh no.
All right. Before we move on to episode 2, I would like to take this opportunity to tell you about iTunes. If you're watching this live, we're probably not on iTunes yet, but make sure to look for Little Witch Academia on iTunes as soon as you can. Is anybody going to try to look, or anybody try to go on Twitter?
I'll take a gander.
Yeah, see if we're up yet. Regardless, make sure to head over to iTunes. If you're listening to this on iTunes, leave us a comment, leave us a rating. It shows the producers here that maybe people want more anime content, and maybe that means we can have more anime shows. We've been going a little bit more steady with them. It seems that we have one a season, because we had Yuri on Ice, which led into Attack on Titan, which led into this. So it seems like we're going to have a steady stream, seemingly, of anime, if the interest is there. So please leave us the comments there. Also, leave us comments down below if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're watching live, wait for the stream to end, and then leave a comment. That way they stay. Thumbs up if you like us. Or if you don't, why not? And most importantly, because this is a brand new show, share it with your friends. If you have some friends that are also watching Little Witch Academia, share the video, share the podcast with your friends, grow the family. We love having you in this. Now let's move on to Papiliodia.
Yay!
Papiliodia. That's it.
Papiliodia.
Yeah, I went to Southern California. Papiliodia.
It's Leviosa.
So Akko is just stoked about everything. It's the first day of school. I got the shiny rod, and also name checks alcohol, which we got a name check in the last episode from Mysterious Witch that we don't know too much about.
Was it Professor Ursula?
It was Professor Ursula, which we found out in the next scene. Big teachers meeting. She's passing out.
Which she also, showed up and basically came to their rescue. How does she happen to know what the magic words are for Shiny Chariot's magic wand?
They're not bearing that lead at all.
Oh, it's...
At all.
No.
Showing it's the same damn bird. You're not pulling the wool over her eyes.
They're really not even trying. I mean, they can't be trying, right? Like the OV. This is not supposed to be a surprise.
They can't really wink much harder than they're currently winking, can they?
Got both eyes closed, just like.
I mean, you can't see her eyes. Maybe she's just walking around
I guess
clothes all the time.
how long are we waiting for the official reveal then?
That's what I'm wondering. In the ending of the episode, it's just a whole bunch of little fun little scenes. But there's one of, and it's sort of alluded to in this episode as well, of our three main girls and Professor Ursula out just like on a trip, just like out on a field trip, sightseeing, whatever. And since we're already talking about it, Ursula, we find out, is taking it upon herself to personally teach Akko and catch her up to the magic basics.
Which I think, thank goodness, she needs a teacher who cares.
She does.
And I don't blame her.
And I mean, unless they are gonna try to pull the rug out from under us with like some sort of surprise twist as to her identity, I feel like, again, if Shiny Chariot is looked down upon as much as she actually is in the witching community, I feel like Ursula probably sees a lot of herself in Akko.
And I mean, Ursula is very sheepish, very shy, trips over every little goblin that walks in her way.
They're basically the same person with how clumsy they both are.
Does anybody think we're like even more than just oh, hey, by the way, I'm your idol? Hopefully we don't get like a family reveal.
Honestly, I don't think she'll. Unless they're gonna pull some sort of weird trick, I don't feel like she's going to reveal that she's Shiny Chariot at any time soon, because she's been in hiding for 10 years. I feel like she's going to do her best to teach Akko, but unless she has to, I don't think she's gonna be like, yes, it was me, Shiny Chariot, all along.
I agree. I think it's either going to have to be some really big event that's going to force her to kind of come out as Shiny Chariot, or, I mean, I guess Akko can kind of put the pieces together after a while, and if she directly confronts her, then, you know, maybe she'll fess up to it, but other than that...
But, yeah, she's been hiding for a good long while, and I don't... Again, it just thinking about like the amount, if she really, and she went into hiding clearly for a reason, I don't feel like she's gonna jump at the first opportunity to be like, yes, somebody, a fan, like, it's me. Or if she does reveal herself, then she'll like immediately like be like, I'm Shiny Chariot, and then like run, and it's gonna be like sort of like a Clark Kent sort of situation where all of a sudden Ursula's gonna run back in and be like, oh, hey, everybody, what did I miss?
It's like
was Shiny Chariot just here? That's so crazy.
Why did you dye your hair red? Because one of the mysteries of the original two OVAs, it was kept a lot closer to the... It wasn't as like... They name checked all the bird as the toy, as in the first opening scene at the magic show, and then Ursula name checked the bird. And with the magic world, it's not unless Alcohol's like the Steve or like the Jenny, it's not like a common name in the magic community, is it? Like,
I don't know.
Way too obvious.
I suppose it could be, but...
Yeah. They made it way too obvious for us to figure that out, and now I hope it's just not too long before we get some sort of a... But at the same time, she also sees how defensive Akko is of her past, and maybe telling somebody who, in the first episode, spent almost every waking minute talking about Shiny Chariot isn't not the best person to tell first.
Probably not. No.
Oh my God, it's you! Like,
screaming, running through the halls, like.
And if she really does want to help Akko, you know, she probably doesn't want her to idolize her as much. She's like, here, I'm going to teach you the magic that is considered acceptable so that you can be accepted by your classmates.
Yeah, it's rough. It is also in this episode where we meet Diana Cavendish. Seemingly, Loma's perfect. She knows every spell, corrects a teacher, and it's like, oh, thank you, you blessing from the heavens for correcting my lesson plan. as Montserrat and I put it earlier in the chat, Diane,
that one I'll allow, yeah.
Now, knowing a little bit more about Diana from the OVAs, I have an open mind about her, and I'm excited to see what this incarnation of the how far this incarnation of the character goes.
Honestly, the most annoying thing about her is her cohorts. Like, by the end of the episode, we see that she's not all bad. You know, she's not gonna try to take credit for something that she didn't do and something that she genuinely feels bad about because she made the wrong call about. But it's her cohorts and her teachers who are like, oh, you're just being modest.
Yeah.
Well, and yeah, that's kind of the direction I'm coming from. It sets up this world in which it's everyone around her that is shaping how she acts and the kind of person that she is. We already know that she's from a very influential family, you know, an old witch family, essentially.
Yeah, how much of this is, like, expectations that have already been set for her, and her just trying to meet those expectations as best she can.
Yeah, that kind of working extra and going overboard.
It's like that self-fulfilling prophecy sort of thing.
And with this, we get Akko's first day of classes. We've got
Why
language.
is magic so boring?
Like the first shot in the OVA is her asleep in class. Like coming from the flashback of the magic show, it opens and she's so it takes her, at least it takes her to the third class to do so. But actually, really quickly, speaking of Diana's two friends, those were two of the witches in the first episode who were talking about a non-witch. Can you believe it?
Racist.
Seriously. And we'll get to more on that later, probably. But we got language and script class, potions class with a like classic OG witch. Susie's just loving it, just like,
Oh yeah.
this is my
She was about that class.
She's gonna be ace in that class.
That's the one. That's her like ace class, and the rest are just.
She's like,
baseline.
whatever. I'll like C average for the rest of them. I don't really care. But this one, this is where I'm at.
happening.
Can I apprentice under you?
And it's gonna be that teacher that tells all the other, like, people are gonna be in complaining like, that Susie is a terror. She's like using potions all throughout the kids, and that was gonna be like, what? Little Sue?
She's a wonder to have in class.
She's my top pupil.
She's my top student. I was thinking of making her my TA.
I'm gonna get her an apprenticeship after this. She's got a future ahead of her, I'll tell you what.
And they're all like, you know what? You're crazy. But we're not going to correct you. We know better than to correct you.
And we also see what I hope is only the beginning. Wait, no, it's not. P.W. Gregory in chat is saying that the two friends are named Hannah and Barbara.
I think I knew that.
Yeah, that's right. They are. I knew it. Yeah, Hannah.
That's
one of them.
amazing. And adds to the cartoony nature of every. Trigger.
I love anime that is inspired by Western cartoons and then vice versa. It's so interesting seeing how art, you know, one form of art influences another, and that's just a wonderful little touch.
That's so dumb. I love it.
Excellent. Excellent.
And
I hope they solve a mystery with a ghost.
not a ghost. But then we see what I hope is only the first of many times where Susie takes the opportunity to test out some of her potions on Akko and turns her little sprout into a sprout.
Why did no one point that out to her?
Because she's the new girl.
Oh, everyone
Just let her wander around with a plant growing out of her head.
No one even like did a double take. Like they thought it was odd. It was just like, oh, there she goes.
Yep.
Like
That's like somebody walking around with a giant kick me sign on their back, and everybody's like, nobody say anything. This is fantastic.
Apparently, the other girl in episode 1 is Avery. Maybe a
Like
reference
Tex
to Tex Avery.
Oh my
Gosh,
gosh! Why
dang
is
it.
this show so adorable?
Show is amazing. Thank you, Eastman, again. All right, so the main crux of this episode is that there is the Jennifer Memorial Tree. Odd name, but it's a big it's Luna Nova's Tree of Life. It's one of the main sort of magical areas that all the students can get magic from, but there's some it's dying seemingly. It's reaching the end of its life, and Ursula is brought in with the other professor that we've been seeing who hasn't been name checked yet, as well as Principal Holbrook. It's like we need to fix this. There's a big issue, and while Ursula's going to figure it out, Diana in her infinite wisdom, was like, I'm going to use my familial magic and I'm going to fix everything.
Without consulting any of my professors for supervision or
Any
guidance.
of my professors?
Yeah.
What can go wrong?
That's the problem. They didn't talk to the right professor.
They didn't talk to Professor Blub Blub.
Nope.
But so as she's using this magic, it goes up and we see a face on the tree like we did in the forest. And I went, all right, this reminds me of the forest, the ones in that. There's a face. This can't be good. Trees with faces are never, well, except from Grandmother Willow. But aside from that, trees with faces are never a good idea.
There's an exception to
Really
every
not.
rule.
There's the exception. We've already found it. We're good.
Sweet grandma. And while, like, she, quote, fixes it, and already Hannah and Barbara, it's gonna get better every single time, run off and like, we're gonna tell the teachers that you did such a great job. And she's just like, well, whatever, wait. And then just while the girls outside are playing a card game that Akko has collected all the cards, it's based on Shiny Chariot Show.
So cute.
Did anybody else, like, instantly when it's like, oh yeah, these are all the things, and she was reciting the spell, like the stuff on the cards, did anybody instantly go, oh, she's learned
That's
magic?
how she's going to learn magic.
It'll be the connection, yeah.
Yeah, you just have to connect her fandom to her actual studies, and she will excel.
It does wonders.
Yeah, it's also like there's no version of kids don't try this at home, please. but it's that memorization, that fandom that allows Akko to realize that it's the Papiliodia, and it's these magic butterflies that only it's so many years until they actually come out of their
120?
cocoons.
Yeah, something along those lines.
And it's a very rare event, and using the magic of the shiny rod ends up unlocking all of these magical butterflies. And it creates a beautiful scene, and the look on Diana's face when she sees one, not only previously thinking the shiny rod was just a toy, but then seeing it actually work. She had a look on her face of like, oh my god, this is real. She's a fan. She is 100% a Shiny Chariot fan. And that's not me going off of any previous thing. This is in episode 2. It's just like, oh my god, because she name checked, because she name checked the spell as well. She went, no, that's the spell.
She knew it. She knew it right off the top of her head.
Well, here's the thing, is like, this is one of those things where it's like, you were a closet Chariot fan, weren't you? Like, she probably really loved it, and it was discouraged by her very prestigious family.
Absolutely. That's one of those things you can't like.
Yeah,
I mean,
so she just kept it to herself and harbored a deep love.
Well, I think coming to it as, and again, we're just presuming a lot of stuff about Diana. We just know that she comes from a very prestigious magical family. It seems like it's common with characters like that where it's hammered home, and for whatever subject it is, this is your life. This isn't fun.
You succeed.
Yes, you have to get all of this right. You need to be good at this. That's what needs to happen. End of story. And then to get somebody else in the magic world like Shiny Chariot to be this, like, oh, it's something that can be beautiful. So it seems like that type of a character is perfect for a character like this, to be like, oh, my escape.
Well, and not to mention a character like Akko as well, like to be there, to be the type of person to be like, well, yeah, it's important to get magic right, but it's also important to have friends and to have fun. And Diana doesn't seem to be the type of person who does a whole lot of things for fun. So having Akko in her life is going to be very interesting.
To say the least.
I feel like Akko's gonna make everyone's lives interesting.
Just by being in the same room is like, I feel like in a lot of cases she doesn't even have to directly interact with someone. I mean, to change things.
Just being a presence in this school, everyone is like, life will never be the same.
They all know it.
Well, no, especially the moment where they explode into the orientation room, just like, what is happening this year?
This is not a normal school year.
So the episode ends with Ursula, as she's reading up on that particular pupae, seeing them all flying around, and it's a beautiful idyllic scene. It's going around the tower with the Sorcerer's Stone in it. Sorry, we haven't been name-checked that yet, but it's the Sorcerer's Stone. Anyway.
Surprise.
Diana, walking away from taking credit for everything, looks up, and I hear like, hey, Diana, hi! We're friends now!
not to mention that the sight of these butterflies is supposed to fill everyone with hope, and they fly over the entire school so everyone can see. It's like, aww, aww.
It was a very sweet, like, warm moment.
But it's also, I hope it's, in the first episode we got 2 monstrous creatures, and this one is just a nice tree.
It's just some beautiful butterflies to bring hope.
Well,
It's nice.
and it was so interesting too, because Diana initially thought like, okay, yeah, I fixed it, and then thought, oh shoot, parasites, and started attacking them. Had she not done that, like, in a way, she really did fix things. It was just when she started attacking the butterflies that is like, no.
Yeah,
stop.
she accelerated the pupae getting, like, being released.
Exactly.
Or waking up.
Right.
So she had just waited, like she would have been right.
Yeah. All right, let's move into, before we do news, we're going to do very quick predictions. And now,
Your
I'm not,
AfterBuzz.
I'll let it
I
say
was
it.
gonna say, I'm hearing it in stereo.
I'm a stereo. So does anybody have any big predictions for the series coming up, or anything small that will happen within the next few episodes?
I feel like Harry, Ron, and Hermione are going to have lots of adventure. No, I do worry, like, as much as I love, like, the fun, bubbly atmosphere, because so much of TV is abusive, I do worry about this undercurrent of, like, a potential menace, like, being, like, somewhere further on down the line. Maybe it's too early to make that call, but I feel like they've already set up a couple things that aren't quite right with the school in terms of its finances, in terms of discrimination against non-witches. So it's like, I feel like they're setting up some pieces that maybe we'll get to explore a little later on.
Yeah, and I also think, because in a show like this, kind of in that school setting, you could have where most of the plots revolve around a typical rivalry, wherein Akko and Anna would kind of be the rivals. But I think they've already kind of twisted that a little bit so that she's not necessarily going to be a big rival in every episode. So I think that does set the stage for something worse to swoop in and become a bigger threat.
And let's be real, most Magical Academy shows rarely end up finishing as Magical Academy shows. Case in point, Ruby. Like, you know.
Well, that was the plan the whole time.
Yes.
Ruby after show.
Well, like, also, I mean, tons of shows that, like, take place in high school or a magical high school. By the time we get to the end game, it's not about school anymore. So, I don't know, I'm just throwing that out there.
It's to show you the possibilities of what these characters can do, and then allowing them to reach a completely different height.
Yes.
I'm gonna watch My Hero Academia. Anyway, really quickly, Miraculous Corazon, which is an awesome name, in the chat says, fun little fact, all of the characters are from different parts of the world. Akko is from Japan, Lotte is from Finland, Susie is from the Philippines, Diana is from Britain, and Ursula is from France. I can totally see that.
Wow. Yeah.
Nice.
And for me, I don't know when she'll officially when Ursula will officially reveal herself as Shiny Chariot, but hopefully, at the very latest, hopefully by episode 13.
Yeah.
At the very, very latest. For those of you who've seen the Enchanted Parade, I'm excited to meet that crew. We see them in the orientation scene as well as in the credits. So I hope that we get to see those students as well. When do you think Diana's going to reveal herself as a Shiny Chariot fan?
I give it a couple more episodes.
Okay.
I feel like they need a few more episodes to bond, or a few more episodes to establish herself as, like, this no-nonsense type of character. That way, when it is revealed, it's either, like, this wonderful bonding moment between the two of them, or it's hilarious. Like, she didn't want it to be revealed.
Like she's got a secret poster in her her dorm. That Hannah and Barbara reveal.
Well, I'm calling it now. I think she's got the card that Akko's missing.
Oh, and like as a sign of friendship, he's like, "Here, take this card."
Yeah, like that could be part of the reveal.
Found it. Don't even like. It's not like I had one.
Had it already.
For the card that Akko's missing, I feel like once Ursula does reveal herself, and it's like, "Here, come into my office, whatever," and just opens up, and it's just full of that card. It's like, "These were super rare. I got hundreds of them. They're just around." You can take 2.
Why they're super rare?
She took all of them. She released like a couple out into the world.
The rest of mine. Let us know your predictions down below, even though if you're watching this, you're probably watching the whole show as it pertains. Last, one little quick bit of AfterBuzz TV news.
AfterBuzz TV News.
So we got a little AfterBuzz. Missed that auto-tune. So a little bit for this episode, and we're going to have a little bit next episode. At Anime Expo this weekend, Studio Trigger announced 3 new shows that are going to be coming out in 2017. First one on the left, it's going to be a partnership between A1 Pictures, the company behind Fairy Tail, Seven Deadly Sins, Ace Attorney, many more. They're partnering with Trigger on a show called Darling in the Franxx.
Huh.
It's interesting. Like, there's no image for it whatsoever, other than just the 2 company
Just the
logos.
fact that they're partnering. Interesting.
Then also we're going to be getting Promare, which is going to be. It is described as Gurren Lagann cross Kill la Kill.
What?
Have no idea what the giant hair robots and rainbow people. It's going to be crazy.
Oh, that's gonna be all sorts
gonna
of insane.
Super in. And then the
Down
last
for it.
thing on the end there with Tsuburaya Productions, the creators of Ultraman. They're going to be co-producing Denko Chojin Gridman, which is a giant hero series. In 2015, Trigger did a short based on Gridman, which actually, if any of you watched the show, it was called Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad, which was one of the many Deke redubbed shows back in the day, like Beetleborgs, like a Super Sentai. That's Gridman was what that show was based off of. So it's going to be an animated show coming in 2017. It's going to be a new series, completely unrelated to the live-action one. So it'll be the same characters seemingly, but with new stories.
My inner Sentai fan is just so excited at this news.
Yeah, I'm super down. I'm super into it. That's all that we have for news today. We've got a little bit more in our second show, which is going to be at 7 o'clock tonight. But until then, please come back at 7 o'clock. We're going to be talking about episodes 3 and 4 right here on AfterBuzz TV. But before we go, Stacey Shuttleworth, where can the folks find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Stacey Shuttles, or all across the web at Nerds Doing Stuff.
Megan Salinas.
Hey guys, you can tweet at me at the Menguin. That's TheMenguin. I am also on a bunch of shows here at AfterBuzz, and I write articles for the Movie Chick. That's Chick with 2 Ks. Be sure to check those out.
And I'm the internet's Mark Donica. You can find me on Twitter at Mark B. Donica. I host a bunch of shows here at AfterBuzz TV, as well as Popcorn Talk. Tonight on Popcorn Talk at 6 p.m., we are debuting Inventory Full. It is our gamer culture show that Stacey's a part of. I am a part of. Friend of the show, Patrick Dees. I almost said a completely different person. Patrick Dees is a part of, and we're adding a new host to our roster, Nate Miller, who is a very cool guy. Make sure to join us at 6 for Inventory Full on Popcorn Talk, 7 o'clock for episodes 3 and 4 of Little Witch Academia. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Little Witch Academia After Show. We will see you next time.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Papiliodia!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.